to Link Business Center and the Science Park update, where you will have a great overview of some of the amazing things taking place around our Science Park and in Linköping. My name is Lena Miranda. I'm the CEO of Linköping Science Park, and with me today I have a number of great colleagues. Raise your hands so that everyone can see everyone working within Linköping Science Park if you would like to connect. So please grab them during the coffee break that will take place during the morning. We will meet a lot of exciting people during this morning session in a very rapid program, and I will not be mer långrandig än så. So I will welcome, and this is just to mention that it's okay to speak Swinglish, because English is not our natural language, but we talk English just to welcome anyone who wants to join in. And we have people on the stream. Welcome to everyone that follows us on the live session as well. And so let me introduce the first panel. With me today I have Mattias Weinhandl from Linköping Affärsänglar, Louise Felldin from Näringsliv och Tillväxt, Linköping Municipality, and Brehmer from Linköping University. And I will actually start with you, Louise, because you are working at the Business Development Administration at the municipality, and we have had quite a few tough years. We had a pandemic, and now we're facing a new challenge globally with a war taking place not so far. But could you tell us anything about the business community and how we're doing in Linköping?
During crisis in general, or?
In general, but also during crisis.
Okay. I think we are very fortunate in Linköping to have a very strong tech sector and many companies that are active in future-oriented areas, such as health tech, medtech, IoT, and also space, of course. If you combine that with a lot of companies around these industries providing services, and also a mindset, I would say, of creativity and innovation in the whole business community. And I'm sitting beside Mattias here. He's from the hospitality industry, and the hospitality industry was really exposed during the pandemic, as you know. And we saw a lot of creativity there, transformation, digital transformation. If the customers didn't come to Stones, then Stones had to come to the customers. So I think that Linköping stands fairly well through crisis, and I'm very happy for that. And of course, around the companies we have the ecosystem of support, the park, of course, alumni, state support, and so on. And I think we are good at channeling those initiatives.
Could you mention anything about what the business community have experienced as challenging during the crisis? Is there anything that has meant more in kind of support that you have been given?
During the pandemics? Well, of course, the state support is the most important one, the financial support to the state. But also on the local level, we try to enhance the capacity of the supporting systems, like Nyföretagarcentrum. We increase the financing of the Nyföretagarcentrum to help companies that are worth like 1 to 3 year old that we didn't have received the market yet, and so on. And of course, also I have to mention Kickstart, which was a specific program towards the hospitality industry in order to enhance the creativity and save jobs within the hospitality industry. Many more things also.
And I also know that we are having a very good news with Lasse-Maja Seckarello. Could you just say a few words about that?
Yes, I guess people know about Lasse-Maja. Have you read them?
Yeah.
Martin Lidmark, the author, he is from Linköping. And I have learned that Lasse-Maja's and also the other books that Martin is writing, Nelly and so on, are actually the most popular books after us in India. And many kids and parents love Lasse-Maja, and we are very happy now that we have come to arrangement that he will open his first Lasse-Maja detective house in Linköping. The first one is a concept, so we will see more of them in Sweden, but the first one, the major one, will be in Linköping, and it will open in the beginning of 2023.
Amazing news. And
Yeah.
another great news that came last week was also the establishment where Ruan will make
Yes.
quite an investment in Linköping.
Yes.
Or Beyond Gravity is
Yes.
the new name. Could you tell us about that as well?
Ruan Space is a Swedish leading company within space. They have owners in Switzerland, and they
Linköping Affärsänglar. And how have you experienced these years of crisis? And I'm thinking, what do you see among the startups? What are they struggling with? But also, as an investor, how do you reason?
Yes, everybody knows it's been quite tough years. We had a pandemic, and then now we have more. But I think this type of times is also the opportunity, especially for the entrepreneurs. Maybe the investors are getting more passive. More risk off, so that's a problem because we need funding to the entrepreneurs. So that's a little bit tricky right now. But as for me and as for Leif, Affärsänglar, we have to double down and work even more and closer to our entrepreneurs and try to help them out in this situation.
And you do a great job, and I know you cooperate with Nordic in Norrköping and also with Leif Business Incubator. And I know that you are not only investing in the Linköping startup, but also nationally. And could you tell us anything about how Linköping stands out as a startup stage in Sweden, or in comparison to other regions?
Yeah, I started my journey in 2014. And then Leif created 2017, and even then we had a really good reputation in the city and in Stockholm. Problem, and still is a problem, is finance and get the money down to our great entrepreneurs we have here. Because we have really good entrepreneurs, and with Leo and with all the other collaboration company, so I think we have a really good opportunity, but we need to collaborate even more. Which is something I really think it's the key for our region. And if we can connect Linköping and Norrköping more, we have over 300,000 as you know, I think that can be really impactful. So we have a pretty close collaboration with Norrköping. We have done some investment together, which is great, and hopefully we can do even more and help entrepreneurs even more. It's it's really positive.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And cooperating between Linköping and Norrköping and with the university, it's like a Peter övergång to Brehmer at Linköping University. Yeah. And you seem to be a never-ending source of knowledge and competence that spin out to become new enterprises that puts innovation on a global market. And Linköping University, how would you describe your position today as a university?
Well, if you go back to the question you addressed earlier here about how the pandemic and the situation has in Ukraine now has influenced us, we can see that our students have been very successful in fulfilling their studies at the university. It nearly has a significant no significant drops in the performance of the students. And we also have an increase in ideas that has sprung out from the university during this pandemic. And that could maybe be a situation where you have, as Mattias said, some kind of disturbances. When you think through, do I have an idea that is possible to go out and make some commercial idea of? So we have an increase that we didn't expect when the pandemic started in 2020. But you can also see that the interest now is that we have an increased number of students that are staying in the region. And I think that is also an important indicator of the attractiveness that we have here in Linköping and Norrköping. And a lot of our students and also the researchers that are putting their ideas into different companies, they see this as a very growing, interesting region to stay in. And I think that this is a benefit that we need to work on different levels. We have to support that from the university, we have to use the municipality support and different other actors as Mattias and other investors in order to create this. And I think one interesting thing is that also the employment of in the tech industry here in Linköping, that has been very looking for new students to recruit. And I think that is also an indicator that we have a very strong climate here, business climate here in Linköping.
Wonderful. How many students here today? 2, 3, 4. Ah, that's good. How many former students from Linköping University? Quite a few. So we have somebody new. Some are staying in the region. And how many went from being a student to becoming an entrepreneur? Yeah, wonderful. That's great. Yeah, so that sounds really promising where you're at, and I also know that you are climbing the listings of the global rankings of universities, which is really amazing. Yeah. And you've been working on a new strategy for the university. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, a little bit on that, because we are looking now into what we need to do in order to be an attractive university and also an attractive partner for other actors in the region. And we have said that we need to go to a situation where we really challenging what is the present way of doing things. Because we see that a lot of things are changing in the coming 10 years. One is the merge between different subject areas. It's this increase here on different merge between technology and medicine, for example. You can see it between ethic ideas that is also having an effect on technology. So we see that this kind of multidisciplinary areas is growing in importance for the university. We can also see that a lot of our educational program has to adjust to the current situation where digitalization, different kind of artificial intelligence tools are making a daily tool for in different new areas. So we have to change how we're working with our educational programs. So we're starting now a process of during the coming 5 to 10 years, working on how should we be an attractive student destination, and in that way also support the business climate and situation here in Linköping also. And I will say that we have learned a lot during the epidemic with the work of digital tools in having distance education. But we have evaluated that and saying that we need to be a mainly campus-based university in the future. Because we see that as a platform for supporting both the interaction between ideas and different students and teachers. But it's also, in that way, we can support the local businesses, the different companies. We have better ways to interact. And I think that is one of the strategic decisions we have made here, that we need to have a very strong presence here in Linköping, Norrköping, to be an attractive university.
Wonderful. Sounds really promising. Let's give the panel a big hand. We heard that we have a lot of innovation that have been spun out of the university and reaching a global market. But there is actually also a number of international companies that have chosen Linköping and the region to operate from. And we will meet a few of them in the upcoming film. It's Microtec, former Woodeye, it's Maxar, it's Veoneer, and it's Actia Nordic. So let's roll the film.
Our attraction here in Linköping is very, very big. We should not underestimate our competitiveness in technology. And we easily range among the 2-3 best countries and cities and science parks and universities in the world when it comes to that. This company was founded back in the 80s as one of the first spin-outs from the University of Linköping, and we're heavily focused on industrial image processing. We produce a scanner that is used in the woodworking industry all over the world. We use all kinds of sensor technologies. It's a real-time system, so it's very, very high demands on capacity and so on. Different kind of sensors. Today, AI has become a very, very important part of our technology, because what we do actually tries to imitate the way the human eyes work when looking at lumber. 2015, we were approached by our former Italian competitor, a company called Microtec. They were looking at expanding their business, looking at deepening the knowledge in the image processing sector and also widening the business perspective. So they decided to buy the company at that time.
Veoneer is a company that has been a spin-off from Autoliv 3 years ago. We have been active here in Linköping since beginning of 2000, so for almost 20 years now. Veoneer is a global company with tech sites and production all over the world. We are doing systems for cars, for driver assistant and also for autonomous cars going forward. So our sensors and software is working both inside and outside of the car, supporting you as a driver. We have different sensors outside of the car, tracking and helping us to see the lanes, helping us to do autonomous braking when needed, see road signs. We also have different sensors and cameras inside the car to see how the occupants is behaving. If you are concentrated on your driving, if you get ill or something happens, it can even track small children in a child seat to see that if it's breathing okay. So very sensitive sensors and software.
Actia Nordic is a tech center where we develop connectivity for the automotive industry, and Actia EMS Sweden AB is a company where we manufacture electronics. We are about 200 people in Mjärdevi. We develop connectivity for the automotive industry. And to give one example, we are doing the on-call system for Volvo cars, which is standard in all Volvo cars. The key element for us is really the connectivity. That means we connect things. That is, you can send message, you can receive message, you can send the data to and from a vehicle. So for example, if you steal a vehicle or a car or a bus with our products, we launch a stolen vehicle tracking, and we also reduce the speed so you can only ride in a limited speed in a stolen vehicle. We belong to a French group which is listed on the French stock exchange, but the majority of the company is privately owned by 2 owner families.
Maxar has 2 legs to stand on. One is space infrastructure, manufacturing communication satellites. The other one is Earth intelligence, who operates currently 4 best commercial satellites on orbit. So we are the R&D house for 3D within Maxar. We are extracting all satellite images for a specific area, produces that one into 3D with an accuracy of 3 meters latitude, longitude and elevation, which is in scale the only way anybody has done it. So we are unique in the technology. We have been part of Maxar since summer 2020, and employs about 4,500 people. All of them, except for Linköping, are in the US. Having a US owner is of course a key for getting US customers to accept the company as well. So this company couldn't have existed without a large US influence.
The reason that we decided to have a tech hub here in Linköping from start was of course the university and the competence that we could find here.
We're a big technology center with a big university in a not so big city.
It's the right size of city. It is also the closeness to their university.
We had at that time the production site in Motala, and we felt that we needed to get closer to the competence.
The Italians look upon us as an excellent place to hire more people.
I would say that this is one of the best places in the world to find the right competence with the university, with the different. It's also when you have these type of centers or places where people are going to, it's attractive for people to come here because they know that it's high tech. If you want to work with high tech companies, Linköping is a really good place to be at.
We should also remember that without Saab as the sort of an engine in generating new ideas, moving things from the military market out to other markets, we wouldn't exist. So Saab has been a truly important part of the infrastructure in Linköping.
It all comes back to the fact that we are so much core competence of what you can find in Linköping. It's image processing on a global sort of very, very strong position. It's sensor technologies, it's real-time system, it's man-machine communications, it's user interfaces, it's AI. And Linköping is like a hotspot for that kind of technologies.
Having the university that close and having all these different tech companies this close, that helps us a lot, of course, to recruit and find the right competence, but also with collaborations with the university and with other companies.
One of the reasons also why we are present in this park is that the collaboration, not only between the companies, but also between the team of the Science Park, is fantastic. So we have a lot of support from them, and that is really helping us in order to, for example, identify interesting companies for us, as the Mjärdevi team is around in all the companies. That means we can just sit back and get the information, what is interesting for us, and then we can just make the right contacts and start working together. And I think that is a brilliant way of working. It's really effective, it really shows results, and I'm very pleased with the work done by the Science Park team. It's fantastic.
That infrastructure is really good for startups, finding both experienced people that has been through 1, 2, or 3 startups, built company, which you can get advice from, and same thing there. It builds on the university, good talents from the university, and then experienced people that can evaluate and guide young, engaged people. And there is a lot of these ones in Linköping, so yes, absolutely, that infrastructure is really important.
I think from a perspective of investment, we need to keep up the technical level that we have here. I think that the work we are doing here in the park, where we bring startups in to be mid-sized companies and to become even large companies, I think this is the right way moving forward to attract interest.
It will definitely continue. I mean, what we see in the near future is this group research and development capacity, but there are also other parts of the business within the Microtec group that have not been active in Scandinavia before.
In the plans, we want to grow with 20 to 25 people this year. It's hard to find new people, so if Linköping wants to grow even further, we really need to see that we can find good people to hire.
In the world today, there is a big lack of engineers.
There's a continuous fight to secure the right kind of competence to the company.
Attracting talents from other parts of Sweden is hard.
So that means all markets are today searching for engineers, and you see some examples of that even inside the park, where foreign companies make investments and acquire operations here in Mjärdevi.
And I see the positive effects by having these many tech companies, so that we can also have our employees walking around a bit and still be able to come back. That is actually a very good thing to increase the experience with our employees. and still, of course, have the individuals satisfied and get the right challenge for the right time.
The kind of cluster we have here in Linköping, it is an asset for everyone. It's an asset for the universities, an asset for the companies. And I think this is what the people look at when they decide to possibly to move into the region.
People who wants to have a technical challenge can move around between these companies, and I think that is a good thing for the companies, because people will increase their know-how, but also for the area, for the region.
Improve the quality is the most important thing to attract new talents, and then to attract talents from other parts of Sweden. I guess it's much up to us in the companies as well to really find them and then get them to understand that Linköping is a good place to live in, and that we have really qualified work tasks for and challenging, fun work tasks.
I think we are fortunate insofar that we have managed to keep a rather high profile and been very successful in the recruitment. I'm proud of what we've done. I think we've done a good job, and we have been really, really successful. And this is also the reason why we can talk to our colleagues about actually making some kind of a group software development center and put that here in Linköping. It's gonna be that's an exciting prospect for the future.
Hard not to get proud when listening to them, and I could see that you, Per-Olof, from the university, you look quite pleased with what they said.
Very happy.
You are very happy. I love it. So, and you will get even more happy because we are moving into the future, and we are going to talk with maybe one of Sweden's most fascinating companies. They joined the Science Park in the late 80s, then they produced mobile phones. Then they started developing GSM, then 3G, departing 4G, 5G, and now they are moving into cloud transformation. So welcome up on stage, Patrik Holm from Ericsson.
Thank you.
Wow. Many of you might know Patrik from his many years at HiQ. Yes. But now you actually joined Ericsson, and you are leading the cloud transformation investment here in Linköping.
Yeah.
What made you join Ericsson?
Yes, it was actually it was a phone call.
Oh, then it was done.
It was a phone call from Anders, site manager of Ericsson. So he said, "I have a crazy idea."
And you just heard crazy, and then you said, "Yes, I mean."
Yes.
Wonderful.
So well, I'm glad to be here at home, I would say, because this morning I ordered a taxi, and I said I want to go to the new Link Business Center. After a while, oh, you mean the old fire station?
Wonderful. So you took taxis from the central station here?
No, from home.
Okay, from home. Okay, I see.
From my second home.
Your second home, yeah, because this is your first home, right? The old,
I live in Stockholm.
Yeah. So, tell us about cloud transformation. What does that mean?
Yes, it's a big investment that Ericsson will do. It's in here in Linköping, and it's in cloud. It's two areas. It's cyber security and also cloud RAN, radio access networks. And cyber security, I think most of you understand why. Why investing in that. And also, if you look at cloud, I have heard that 5G and 6G is born in the cloud. So it's the future. And if you look at why in the cloud, what should we do then? And there are demand for pressing the cost, of course, but also to have flexible, scalable systems. And we use that by having COTS. It's not done by specific hardware. It's cost and standard products, and also modern techniques with cloud techniques. And you also can use AI and machine learning to do effective new telecom systems. So this is the future, and I'm really, really glad that we have this way forward here in Linköping, because now we can say that 6G will come to Linköping.
That's wonderful. And it's good you say this is the future, because our place brand says the future now, the future is here.
Yeah, the future is here and it's coming, and we need 100 plus
100
skilled
plus
people that are working in this area.
Yeah.
It's architects and it's senior developers, experts in IA and machine learning, data scientists and so on.
Yeah.
And I will say why I was interested in this, joining Ericsson in this way, is it's a transformation. If you look at automotive industry, you're going from mechanics to software. It's more like, if you look at another company here, Saab, if you look, we should do next generation of Gripen with cloud technique. I don't think it's a good idea. And they're going to change all the company from embedded techniques to another technique. That's a transformation, and that's really, really something.
Wow. And I know that you told me that you will need quite a number of new skills to staff this cloud transformation operations. What do the people joining this operation need? What kind of skills is it that you're looking for? And please address the university, because he's taking notes.
Yeah, well, what I would say is it's very broad and it's also narrow in a way. I think that the experts in the cloud techniques, if you compare, it's going from embedded techniques to Tesla, Uber, that kind of, and that's understood to me. I want you to come to Ericsson, because I think you are a good perception manager. Yes. And I had to Google, what's that? And there's a little bit of branding, it's leadership, and how to build that, because we have to attract really, really skilled people to join, not only in Linköping, but in Sweden and maybe the world, to come here. And we are not perceived as a cloud company, because we are doing the embedded.
Wonderful. And I think this is such a positive thing also, because you told me that you will be able to connect more to the business community in Linköping and cooperate on a wider scale. And you initiated a new network with companies within cloud.
Yeah,
Why did you do that? And what do you hope to achieve?
We have started a club. Cloud club.
Cloud club.
I have a mentor that said, open the door, because more ideas will fly in than out. I think that's a good way of thinking, and I think that we need influences from each other. Often we just work for our own. It's the entrepreneurs want to hold their ideas, and you come to a big company, you have so much bureaucracy or hierarchy and something like that. You don't to take new influence. So we started this.
And
we
which
have
are the
5
companies that you joined?
yes, we started with Sector Anira, NetAdmin, and Axis. Ericsson.
Great number of companies.
So this is just the start, and we have had 2 meetings, and we are.
Wow. That's really great to hear, and we are looking forward to follow your next development. And we have Weinhandl here as well from Ericsson, who is part also of the Mjärvi or Linköping Science Park board. So thank you so much, Patrik, and we will get back to you to see how this takes place.
Good.
Thank you so much. So we met a few of the big companies and the international based R&D companies in Linköping, but now we will also get a chance to meet some of the new companies that is based in Lead Business Incubator. And let me welcome a panel of Marcus Rugge from Arbo Air, Sam Issa from Nanotextiles, and Kujtim Salihu from Facegent. Welcome up on stage. I actually want to tell you that we have reserved spots for you. Or did you have reserved spots? So you will have a bag put together by my colleague Frida, which is that's Linköping Science Park, and there are some few books that we've been writing during the last few years, and some other goodie bags for you. Yeah. How are you?
Good.
Good. Wonderful. So, Market, I should say this panel of startups, they represent so many exciting sectors and competences. We have security solutions. We have fashion and new materials, and we have AI drones and new solutions for the forest. Yeah. Wonderful. Let's start with you, Marcus. Arbo Air. Can you tell us a little bit about you and the company?
Yeah, if I just lay the ground then for the company, I would say like, imagine if you have a big estate, a forest estate, and you know that you have a big problem there, and it's spreading rapidly, and you're losing timber value every day, but you don't really know where to find those problems in your forest. And with Arbo Air, you just, with a flick of a button, you get an analysis for the whole estate, and you know exactly where all your problems are, and you get the result as a map in your phone, and you can just walk out and take care of it. That's Arbo Air, and I'm Marcus Rugge, and the CEO and founder of the company. Yeah, that's me.
Wonderful.
Arbo Air, yeah.
We'll get back to you, but let's welcome also Sam Issa.
Thank you.
Nanotextiles. Tell us about yourself and the company.
Yeah, so I'm the CEO of Nanotextile, and we have developed a smart material which we could manipulate to shift its size from smaller and bigger, expand and contract, let's say. So what we do basically is that we develop wearables which we could integrate as components in different products. It could be a jacket, a pair of trousers, or even shoes and boots. And then you have multi-size products. So you don't have to produce as much as you do today, with approximately 30% of overproduction. So you can reduce overproduction, and make this industry much more sustainable and circular, let's say.
It's wonderful. Wonderful to hear.
Thank you.
So we'll come back to that. And the Qualcom, Facegent.
Thank you.
But you are a kind of a serial entrepreneur, right?
Maybe that's a good
Soon
title.
to be.
Soon to be. Yeah, great to be here, and it's impressive companies that we have the opportunity to see here. It's fantastic that we have a kind of ecosystem here. I co-founded this company actually exactly 1 year ago, and what we do is I can bet many of you have an iPhone today, and has facial recognition in your iPad or phone or when you switch, and so forth. I have a 10-year-old guy at home, so I'm using that a lot. He has learned to use it. But what we are doing is that we are taking facial recognition to more practical and this kind of building. In the future, maybe you could enter it without keys and tags. The system would recognize you. So it kind of gives you a convenience dimension. You will not have any cards and keys and tags and kind of things. But it can also be used in security terms. In Linköping, I have learned that there is a lot of women that have protected identity. They want to train at the gym, and at that gym we don't want to have certain people being there around. So it can have both convenience and security dimensions. So that's what we have built our company around.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Marcus, you told us that you use drones and you process the data collected with an AI to save forest. Sounds like you combine some exciting competences with the sector of forestry. What is the dynamics of this innovation ecosystem? How do you work and who do you partner with?
Yeah, we work in the beginning of, the value chain of the forestry. We work in the very beginning where the trees are and where you harvest them. And what we do is kind of secure the raw material for the whole entire chain then. And what we do is actually, it's divided into 3 different parts. We have one part that is data collection, and it consists of either drones, satellites, or like airplanes images, and then we analyze this images, and we use a cloud, and as we heard here before. So we build a cloud structure, and we use that for clients to see their property and the analysis there, and then they can take action, and they walk out in the forest and they do what they do best.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So good thing that we have a cloud transformation.
Yeah.
Maybe you can join it.
Maybe if I'm.
It can be hang around.
Okay, so there's hang around and there's the actual club member. Okay, but I know that you also been looking into the AI Sweden initiative, and let me just say that the AI Sweden is a national initiative, and Linköping Science Park is hosting East Node to AI Sweden. But you've been looking into this. What are you thinking by maybe joining AI Sweden?
Oh, I think it's really exciting what's happening there. You know, in this region, overall, you know, the technical base is really good, as we heard here before, and AI Sweden are, for our sake, anyhow, that works with AI, you know, they're a good network to gather the information and share information throughout this society. And also, I think, further on, I think that it's been a lot of money put into green industries in this region, so it's quite good for us. And like Väderstad have been working here for a long time, and like Vinnova's putting in quite a lot of money here, so yeah, it's a good base actually. Yeah.
A good way to position Sweden globally as well as an AI nation, right?
Yeah.
So are you on the list ranking of the AI startups in Sweden? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Sam. Let us hear more about this exciting. I know that your family has a heritage from the tailor industry, and you kind of took this interest in fashion and then found the new materials, and it's actually graphene that we're talking about, right? Or is it some kind of...
It was inspired by graphene.
It was inspired by, because this is so exciting, and you briefly got to introduce it, but you actually got a real customer, which make boots, right?
Yes.
Yeah, can you tell us about that?
Of course,
and just
yeah.
exemplify.
Yeah, well, so my background is, all my family are basically tailors. Our origins are from Syria, and I grew up in Linköping, and then I moved to Stockholm because we have actually one of Stockholm's best tailoring shops. I'm super proud of that.
Wow.
Yeah, so
you're very nicely dressed.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, so it's quite a journey, and then I moved to Italy to study fashion and textile, and it's been like a trip around. I've been doing most of the, let's say, of the value chain, and the idea was born when I was working with my uncle, you know, like doing the stitches, the craftsmanship, and I saw Stockholm people going into NK, for instance. They were buying super expensive clothes, and then they didn't go home. They went straight into our tailor shop to do what? To do alterations. And then my science fiction brain started to to think, why doesn't we have any material that could actually, you know, like in the movie Back to the Future, you've seen it. Why don't we have that in real? And then, yeah, it's actually born there. So I started to investigate what is possible to do, and nothing was possible basically because it's super conservative and traditional industry. So I did a lot of experiments with my uncle. Poor uncle, he put a lot of time on failures basically. And then I understood that after talking to the industry that it has to be scalable and it has to be super easy to check in the supply chain. So I got this insight that we need some kind of solution which is inside the thread itself. So we're talking about nanotechnology. And I didn't know anything about nanotechnology. And then I got to know that, okay, Linköping University, they actually have this advanced material, this expertise. So I just came back here, and then I talked to several researchers. I talked to Edwin Jager, I talked to Ericsson, for instance, and we had a match there. So we started to collaborate on several workshops, and you know, it was crazy ideas.
I think this is super inspiring. You watch a what do you say, scientific movie,
yeah.
And you are inspired by why it's not this solution existing on the market, and then you find the great researchers at Linköping University, and then you run a startup.
Yeah, so
it's amazing.
Yeah, basically, actually, I read a book which is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Oh,
so he starts from a dream, and then he goes around the whole world to find out that actually he just had to dig up a little bit, and it was below him in the beginning. And I started here. I went around the world and came back here.
What kind of support do you get from the ecosystem of East Sweden? Because I know you're based at Leif Incubator. Could you tell us a little bit about what other partnerships you have?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I wouldn't come this far, to be honest, without like all this ecosystem. I started with Leif, for instance. They teach me how to approach the market. I mean, how do you do if you have something that didn't exist yesterday, and today you have like technical proof of concept? How do you go about it? How do you approach a market and find the perfect product to market fit? So it's basically like, you know, this methodology that I got help with. But then it's a great place here to be from a technical, like tech point of view. But then we figured out that we are actually in the textile industry, and then we approached the Borås incubator connected to Borås University, because they have the know-how and the product, you know, how to develop stuff. So now it's actually a collaboration between Leif and Borås incubator. So in Linköping, they are in charge of how we can build this global tech company and build an organization around it. But then we need the know-how from Borås. They know how the supply chain function and how we can jack it into to make it super scalable on a global level.
It's a really great cooperation with Borås. I know also Duna Micro, which is another company at Lead, have had the same experience working with Borås. So that is really good to hear.
It's great, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Kujtim, you told us about the face recognition and the security solutions, and you are actually operating in a region which is really, really good in cybersecurity solutions. Have that been a good thing for you, would you say?
Absolutely, and I don't think we would have started this company if we would have not been in Linköping. All of us studied at Linköping, all of us technical background, so probably is not a coincidence. And we have received, of course, a lot of help, because when you start a new company with a new technology, you end up in quite many technology surprises that you don't foresee. But so we could always navigate and find the right guy to help us to the next step. So, and within 1 year we have a working product, so it's up and running. So that's actually quite impressive. We can look at it.
And what does your market look like? Who is the customer? You mentioned the property owners.
I hope it's Niklas here. Yeah.
Niklas, yes.
That's
Oh,
Niklas
you
at
are a
Space.
customer. Oh my
So
God.
that could be one co-working place. So you can track the guys.
So the chip that I have in my hand will be of no use because of it. Okay.
Obsolete, exactly. And so that could be one thing. The second be, if you go to the gym today, it's between 6 to 8% of the people actually cheat with the cars. So we could decrease that, and you don't have to freeze in the morning with your app. We can just walk into Campus Halle, for instance. We're also looking at property developers in Stockholm, if people want to move from that place to the other one without having to carry. This is from Technique in 7. It feels quite uncommon, actually. It's not like 22. So that's type of applications. We just want to make it convenient to move between the different properties.
Yeah. Before rounding up this session, this is so amazing. I could talk all morning about this. Could you please make a shout out if there's any kind of collaboration that you are looking for? Just take this opportunity to make a shout out. You don't need to go across the world, you know, because the most things are here in Linköping.
Yeah, as I said, there's an opening maybe for this cloud infrastructure network, something like that.
To become a hang-around. Maybe they will be the hang-arounds when you bring it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's and then AR Sweden, of course, they're so good, and we are at lead also with some, and it's I like it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sal?
Yeah, actually, our customers are brands around the world and also in Sweden. Now we're working with boots, for instance, so there are no boots companies in Linköping, but of course in the future there might be, and then we will develop some, also cloud-based solutions. I think we would like to know if we could have some data, maybe big data, if we integrate our wearable technologies inside all, let's say, the clothes.
Mm-hmm.
How much do we actually, how much change do we do in the changes? And then we should have it up to the cloud, and then we can have data to, reduce the overproduction. But this is in the future, so I hope there is someone here that might have some ideas.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And Kujtim.
Yeah, the best way of collaborating is to have customers. So from my point of view, if there is a leader out here in the room that would like to modernize the way of accessing the buildings and properties, they are welcome to me, and we will help you out.
Yeah. For instance, we have this great, amazing testbed at Gunnar. Maybe you could, or Lynn, you could connect with Kujtim to test the
We are actually in contact with
Of course.
But I saw that Christian is going around with those Knippar and things, so maybe
we will connect you with Christian. Definitely. A big hand of applause. Thank you so much. And before you will have a coffee break, I will introduce you to my friend Niklas Sternerup from Private Material Handling Europe. A big hand for him. And Niklas, all the way from Mjölby.
All the way from Mjölby.
I'm
I
so
feel like
happy
a
that you are
4-year-old.
here. And you were actually going to be here with your friend Magnus from Väderstad.
Exactly.
And he bailed out.
No. He gave me all the time.
Thank you, Magnus. And Magnus is operating in Väderstad, who is actually moving into Mjölby Center.
That's
really
why you
good
forced
thing.
me to come here. Actually.
Yeah.
so Lena is always pushing me a little bit extra on why aren't you in Mjölby or in Linköping Science Park? We are collaborating quite heavily, I would say, but we are not physically there yet.
No.
You know, we come from a Japanese company, Toyota, which they move a little bit slow sometimes, they move very quickly sometimes, so let's see what happens in the near future.
Yes, and I'm always amazed when I visit you in Mjölby, because you have, I came a few years ago when you celebrated 70 years as a company from BT Industries, and now Toyota Material handling Europe this very long thing. And it's been 70 plus years of heavily innovating the future of logistics. Tell us a bit about what is happening in Mjölby today.
Well, there's a lot of things happening, of course. We all have talked about the pandemic and then the war that we talk about, whatever people call it nowadays. I think there's another war ongoing. I heard it from Patrik now, I heard it from other people, the war on talents. I think you have both an amazing job, but also a quite tough job in front of you. So let's come back to that. But just before that, just so you understand, Toyota for many people is probably, let's call it, you think about a very quality, reliable car from the Japanese market. But what we have done, and we used to be BT, as you say, what we are doing in Mjölby, but also all around Europe, we are producing hand trucks and all the way up to fully automate the material handling solutions, for example, the Swedish furniture company that we all know about. And we see that we're not making more innovation within the hand pallet truck, to be honest. We are making more innovation in areas like automation, sustainability, and digitalization or connectivity. And for that, we have taken quite an interesting decision, or we have a plan now, which is fully supported by our owners in Japan. We are today, let's say, investing quite heavily in R&D, and we will actually double that investment in near 4.5, 5 years. Wow. That is quite amazing, to be honest.
Wow. And if you would talk money-wise, how much?
I will not talk money-wise, because I'm from a Japanese company. So. but let's give you a little bit of a flavor of it. We are about a little bit more than 500 engineers in 5 different sites in Europe. And I think we're talking about double it. We're not talking primarily about doubling the number of people, because, and I think that is a bit the general trend here, is we would like to see much more collaboration, partnerships, acquisitions. So talking to Mattias later on this week, I hope, to see what kind of startup can support us, because the speed is extremely important for us. And you don't get the speed by yourself. You need to have the speed together with partnerships. That's for sure.
Let me just tell you a little bit about Viskari and Park, or the innovation parks in Linköping. What people say is so amazing is the queues for the lunch time, because you can make 1, 2, or 3 meetings in a lunch queue. Sorry, I got off topic.
So I should eat more lunch, you say?
Yeah, in Linköping. This is really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And what do you see? I mean, you mentioned the geopolitical circumstances, but I do believe logistics will actually grow in potential. What kind of new solutions do you see in the future that we will develop?
I think, I mean, we all see that the material handling business is transforming. It has done that for the last years, and it will continue, and the speed will continue as well. But we see, I mean, basically it's 3 things. The customers, which is actually all of you in this room, you are changing your way of buying. Your pattern is different today. I don't know if some of you have, at least I have 2 teenage daughters. Not every day, but almost every second day I have some kind of delivery back to my house, and then I have the same kind of delivery back from my house. And that is not sustainable, of course. We need to fix that. At the same time, we need to fix in a smart way the more increased smaller packages and so on. So the old-fashioned wooden pallet will still be there, but it will not be so close to the end user. So we need to see different new solutions and more. I mean, it's always nice to say sustainable solutions, but to be honest, we are there now. It's quite obvious for many reasons, and our customers are not going green just because they like to say it. They really mean it. So they are pushing us very hard, and we need to push our partners and our suppliers.
Good thing then you're part of the deep tech region, and you mentioned that we have a great collaboration since many years, and we among other things, we do the Index program together. And Index, for anyone who doesn't know about it, is an open collaboration platform where we also have a startup arena. We are working together with Siemens Energy, Saab, Väderstad, and Toyota. And for the past two years, we have matched you with startups from Sweden and globally. And this has resulted in no less than, I think, 10 funded proof of concept projects. How have you experienced this from Toyota?
I mean, once again, I mean, we can always refer back to the old Japanese culture, which is our foundation, of course. And we have that, but we also see that we need to get some smart new ideas. I like what I saw just before this, and also from Patrik. I mean, these kind of discussions, these kind of collaborations we need to find, and Index is perfect for that, I would say. And we have, as you say, several proof of concepts ongoing, like remote steering. You don't need to sit on a forklift anymore. You can sit in a, I will not say container in the Nevada desert, but similar to that, you can actually control and hear other things than only one forklift.
I got to try that in Mjölby.
Yeah.
It was so nice.
Yeah, you had it. Yeah, exactly. The PlayStation version.
So we are actually changing the process for Index this year. So it's an ongoing application, and it's within connectivity, automation, and sustainability that we are looking for new startup ideas. So if you know anyone, if you have an idea, it's you should just apply for the Index.
So for all my comments, the final one is then, if you remember one thing, we are now supposed to heavily invest more in research and development, product development. So I'm eager to get everything from students to entrepreneurs to startups to other colleagues. So I think business call
and you could actually maybe rent one place at Do Space in
from Niklas, yeah, sure.
From Niklas, yeah.
Well, there it is.
Then you
can try once, yeah.
Then you are based in Linköping, and then you can, continue growing. Wonderful. Is there anything else you would like to add before closing up this?
No, just perhaps. I mean, many people are talking about the pandemic, and also later on now with the things going on in Ukraine. As a big company, we are being hit in the supply chain as many others, of course, and now with the Ukraine going on, we are hit also on the market. So it's both ways. So it's a struggle, and I think that can, depending on what will happen, it will hit quite hard on us, meaning our suppliers, our customers. So it's a difficult time at the moment.
Yeah. So we need to stick together, collaborate even more in Linköping and with the partners that we have in a surrounding society. And mentioning Ukraine, I would also like to add that yesterday we opened up a matchmaking between Ukrainian people entering Sweden and Swedish employers. And my colleague Ella Galver, which you will meet later on in the program, is the project manager for this event. So if you want to connect with her, you can just raise your hand and wait. Yeah, you can do it during coffee break, which is now. But before that, a big applause for Niklas. Welcome back, everyone, and I must say you made me so happy by making such great networking out there and connecting to new people. And someone just said you solved a lot of my problems already, and that makes me really, really happy. So we are going to continue this very exciting program, and we are up next with a panel of Scaleups, and Scaleups are the growing companies in East Sweden. And since 7 years back, we run a program called Swedish Scaleups. It's run by my colleague, Daniel Kullbart. You could wave back there. And I know we have some Scaleup coaches in the audience, so could you raise your hands? Some very experienced serial entrepreneurs in East Sweden that helps us to take the next generation companies on their growth journeys. I would like to welcome the panel. Next up is Oskar Öberg from SoftTube, Mikael Håkansson from So Easy, and Sam Niskanen from Lurkit. Please welcome them with a big applause. And I also want to add that these are not just growing companies, but when we talk about scale-ups, we talk about companies that have a minimum of 7 million crowns as a turnover, 10 employees, and a growth potential of 20% per year for an upcoming 3-year period. You also have a very innovative business idea and an idea that can scale, and not just scale and grow, but scale exponentially, like a hockey stick. Yes. So I'm going to start with you, Mikael, and So Easy. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Yes, I am one of the person that have started the company, So Easy, and we build a software and business system for training companies, and do it in a very a way so it will be simplified for the customers, so it should be very easy to run their business, yeah, so then can focus on other things than administration and things like that. Most of our customers think that is boring, so we do it more automatic in an easy way.
Yeah. And you work with sports or gym facilities, yeah, or training
CrossFit box, yeah, yoga studios.
And you also carry quite a heritage, because I usually call Linköping the ERP region of Sweden, and ERP is the enterprise resource planning sector, which have fostered companies like IFS and Intensia and Industri Matematik and Cambio and Midus and VRP, and I could continue a very long list of companies. So that is so nice to hear that you are doing the next generation of ERP. And also welcome to Oskar Öberg and SoftTube. Tell us a little bit, and I had the privilege to follow you for not all of your journey, but a big part of it. You've been operating for like 17 years?
19.
19, oh my God. Even, wow. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, we make software and hardware that's used in producing music. So you'll have your tracks in your recording software with your bass and drums and keyboards and stuff, and we make effects that make those tracks sound better.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. So we have the ERP and the music industry, the digital music industry. And then we also have Sam Niskanen from Lurkit, and you combine like the gaming industry and the social media platform for influencers?
Yeah, exactly. So what we do is that we have created a very sophisticated ecosystem for data-driven collaborations between content creators, aka influencers, and gaming publishers and gaming studios.
Wow. Amazing. We will get back to that. Sounds so interesting. But let's continue with you, Mikael, and tell us a little bit about your growing journey. And I know you mentioned just earlier that you have employed 4 persons this year.
Yes, exactly. We have do a good step last year, and we think it will be same this year. So we have go from 13 to 17, and we still have 2
more positions.
2 more that we want to hire.
Wonderful. What happened? Can you see anything that changed that made you grow even faster, or did you just get more?
No, it's more that the company have came up to a more position that we are more known in the
sector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we came from only smaller now it was before, and now we have take bigger and bigger companies. So it can be bigger market also. And
are your customers in Sweden or?
Yeah, we are in Sweden, and we will be there way. The market in Sweden are much bigger. We are still
have big potential
big
to
potential
grow
here
in
in Sweden. And when we go to other companies, then we will do it in a good way. We will be the number 1 on that market that we are on. So first, we think we will be number 1 in the Swedish market, and then we can see when we take the next step.
And you are part of the Swedish Scale-Up program.
Yeah.
What kind of support did you get?
We have a good support by our coaching, and we started this after the new year, so we have not go so long yet, but we have started with a lot of good high with the coach. So he have connected us with other interesting company. Yesterday we meet a company in Stockholm and discuss sales and marketing, and we have a meeting before also that change our mind how to one of this that we have higher came out from that meeting. So
wow.
so it have give good effect. So I think it can give good effect this year.
And the vision on a 5-year
the vision is that we are number 1 in the market here in Sweden, that we, and the customer that love us. So we don't need to forget the customer that we have grown all before this last year. Only we grow to the customer that came to us. So we have not searched for the customer so much. So the customer come to us because the other customer love us, and so we are the only company in the competition that do not have any. We are not looked in the companies in. So if the customer don't want to have the system, don't think, this is not so good match, then they can end directly. No, then are not needed to pay 1, 2, 3 months more or a long contract. We are the only that have that opportunity, because we are confident that we are have the best service, and if it's not a good match, then we want to end with the customer in a good way, because we have got customer that have leave but came back because it was not a better grass on the other side.
Sounds amazing. Thank you. And Oscar, Softube, I know you've been operating for 19 years. Now I know that. Yeah. And about the hockey stick.
Yeah.
You have really experienced the hockey stick. Tell us a little bit about the history and what happened.
Yeah, I think when we started out, we were trying to license our technology to other companies in our business, which is the music instruments industry. And we did that for a couple of years, and then there was not much of a hockey stick. But then from 2007 and onwards, we started doing our own products, which took off very, very slow. But then eventually that grew and grew and grew, I guess exponentially, but from a slow start. So from 2010 and onwards, we've been growing very quickly. So we were 4 people in 2010 probably, and we're 53 now.
Wow.
So, and it's been a
amazing.
steady
And you
growth.
are about to break the 100 million Swedish crown.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully this year.
Soon. Maybe next.
Maybe next.
We'll see.
Amazing. How does that feel?
Oh, good. Really good. Yeah.
How will you celebrate?
Oh, it's horrible. I don't know. We have our 20th anniversary too next year, so maybe we'll have some sort of
a music festival in Linköping. We've been talking about this for quite some time.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe.
Wonderful. And could you share some experience from this journey of growing your company? What has been the biggest challenges and the biggest successes?
I think the biggest challenge always when growing is prioritizing between different things. And it's kind of when you're 5, 6, 7, 8 people, you have some sort of coordination implicitly between you, and then you can sort of prioritize, and everyone moves in the same direction and so forth, and then suddenly you're 12 and it doesn't work anymore, and then you're 15 or 20 and you start, okay, so how do we even organize this? And we chose a matrix organization many years ago, so and then suddenly you have groups in one direction and then teams in another direction of still 5 to 8 people, but then prioritizing who does what between these groups and what's most important. So that's I think that's the biggest challenge, but also interesting.
And could you see that you have done anything that was brilliant during this journey? That, wow, good, we made this step.
Yeah, well, I think the most important thing is that we have really good staff. I think that's the key. Like if you have the right...
You don't have any problems recruiting, right?
Well, that's about this talent war. It's very tricky. We're looking to hire around 10 people right now, and it's we're filling the positions one by one, but it's a struggle for each one. So
you are really good in recruiting a diverse group of people. Also, you have different nationalities.
Yeah.
At Soft2. How many different?
Oh, I don't really have. 7, 8.
7 or 8,
I don't know,
yeah.
something like that. Yeah, especially when engineers we try to hire locally mostly, even though there are some exceptions. But when we've hired people that have experience from our industry, there's not that many in Linköping, so then we tend to look elsewhere.
So you bring them to Linköping because we need some more music in our lives.
Yes, we've many of them have moved here, and we also have some people commuting from Stockholm. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. By the way, I love your T-shirt.
Thank you.
Nice. So, Sam, how do you ever come up with the idea that you should combine the gaming industry with the social media platforms and the influencers? Where did you... And you run the company with your brother, Tom?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you make this idea together, or did you...
So, I mean, both me and my brothers are lifelong gamers, and we have, when we grew up, also watched a lot of content, Twitch content and YouTube content. So when we started the company, we first started out creating different software solutions for influencers. So we created an analytical platform for where they can see their growth, what they need to change to perform better when it comes to viewership and stuff like that. Also different types of branding tools. So that was the initial focus. And as that community grew from hundreds to thousands of users, we started to see that it was quite obvious that it was a big opening in the market when it comes to connecting influencers with brands. And since we also had quite strategic good investors, veterans from the industry, we had a quite good channel to speak with different publishers and game developers. And we found out that the gaming industry puts roughly 60 to 75% of the marketing budget in influencer marketing. Wow. But everything was done through a manual workflow. Everything was done through either an agency or you did it by mail and spreadsheets. So we started to develop smart tech solutions to connect these two stakeholders on one platform. was quite obvious when we saw the traction, and influencer marketing, it's also growing 35% year by year.
Wow.
So it's a good spot to be in right now.
Yeah, it sounds like that. And is there, how big can your company get? Do you have like a...
Well, we have a unicorn ambition.
I love that.
Yeah, so I mean, the gaming industry is the biggest digital entertainment part of it. It's huge and still growing. And when it comes to the influencer marketing part in gaming, you have roughly 12-13 million content creators out there. So yeah, and it's growing.
And I think you could inspire all the companies here with that mindset, because I know when I joined Science Park, I got to be the ambassador for Facebook in the Science Park, because not so many companies were on Facebook. But now I feel that's old news. Do you have any good recommendations about social media to the audience?
Good recommendations? Well, I don't know. I think that as a marketing channel, I think that TikTok is on the rise. So
how many here has TikTok? And how many use TikTok in your business every day? None? Oh my God, we have a mission. We have a mission. So listen to Sam. I think you should connect with him in the break after this session. So you are part also of the East Sweden game community in Linköping, which is based in Ebbe Park. What have that meant to you as a company?
Well, great people, obviously very good when developing the product, to have game studios of different sizes there with different experience, so you can, when we were smaller, we had our office together with them. Now we have moved out to our own office, but when we did prototypes of products, you could just open the door and talk with a game studio directly to see their reaction and stuff like that. So that was quite nice.
How many people are you now?
We're 17 right now, and we're going to be doubling that in the upcoming year.
And you are also part of the Swedish Scaleup program, right?
Yes.
And let me say, Swedish Scaleup is a collaboration between science parks and incubators in central Sweden, from Uppsala and Västerås, Eskilstuna, Örebro, Norrköping and Linköping. And we, in the region, we work together with the Lead Business Incubator, with Norrköping Science Park, with Vreta Cluster and with Almi to choose which companies will be part of this program. What has this program meant to you, and what do you hope to achieve?
So for us, it was quite a lot of focus on the business model. So we have a hybrid business model that fits into each other, where one part of this is SaaS, software as a service. We started to sell already. We have only been selling our product for 8 months, but we have had a quite nice growth with like 20% growth month by month. But also doing that for the first time, you do a lot of things wrong. So having Per Nordling, who has built different types of successful SaaS companies, has been huge support, not only to validate what we do good, but also like to map out future obstacles and stuff like that.
Sounds great. And one last question. How is it to work so closely with your brother?
Well, when I came here today, you had a name tag for my brother, so that was fun. That's a new one. No, but it's very fun. We are very different as persons. He's the CTO of the company, and a good thing is obviously you got a healthy dose of trust initially when you start a company, which is huge. So the trust part is very big, and we can also be very direct with each other. So we don't really have that many filters. We want to do the best things possible.
Do you use the gaming metaphors?
No.
Sorry. Thank you so much. A big hand of applause for this. And we heard a lot about cybersecurity during the morning sessions, and it is a growing market. I'm sad to say that, but that's how it is. And Linköping Science Park have been doing some different projects within cybersecurity or secure digitalization for the past few years. And just a month ago, we got the good news that we got funding to start the initiative of building a regional cybersecurity center. And we just recruited a new position, and that is Magnus Lundqvist, who is our new cybersecurity node manager. A big hand. Welcome, Magnus. You actually haven't started yet, but
no,
I'm happy that you decided to join in today.
Yes, of course. I will miss this. I'm very excited to be here.
Wonderful. And you are actually leaving a position within the cybersecurity sector to join this initiative to build a regional cybersecurity center.
Yes.
Why did you choose to do that?
Well, yes, I've been working in the industry for since 2018 now, and seeing what's needed, and I actually had the thought that there should be a place where companies could, companies have a lot of questions around cybersecurity, and they hear a lot about it, and there should be a place where they could meet and interact in a natural way to discuss these kind of topics. And so then I saw the ad and I saw the description for this position, and I thought, yeah, it's really a match. So so I applied, and fast forwarding, here I am.
Wonderful. And I mentioned that we are doing a few projects, and for instance, we've been doing educational programs for tech companies, for the agriculture sector, and we are up to do a program for hospitality and tourism companies. So these are educational programs to help raise the awareness among small and medium-sized companies, which are heavily affected by cyber attacks of different various kinds. If there's any SMEs, which we know there are in the audience, do you have any recommendations how to start thinking about awareness, and what should they do?
Well, if you have started to think about awareness, you're in a good way, I would say, because that's what, no matter what area or business you're in, it's really important to think about what is your what are your assets. We talk about assets in cybersecurity. What are your assets that you want to protect, and which are important to you, and to which means do you want to act to protect those assets. So I think, and those educational seminars are really good, because cybersecurity isn't all about strong passwords and multi-factor authentication or hardened firewalls. It's really a lot about the people and the way you act with your surroundings.
Do you have a good password recommendation?
Yeah. Using a password manager. I don't know any of my passwords.
That's a good recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay. Linköping Science Park, we also work with the science parks in Lund, Ideon, Blue in Karlskrona, Lindholmen in Gothenburg, Kista in Stockholm, and Luleå Science Park. And we have applied to become a European Digital Innovation Hub, operating digital security or secure digitalization for SME and the public sector. And our hope is that we will be approved, and that this regional cybersecurity center will have a next step as a European Digital Innovation Hub. But what we will also do within the center is to start a community for cybersecurity companies. What will that community do you think?
Oh yeah, that's a brilliant question, and a question that I will start thinking about in end of May. But no, but I think it's really important, as I said initially, that there is a natural point to turn to, because companies have so many questions, and they hear about these threats. Some of them experience them, unfortunately.
And it's good to connect all the expertise that are in the market. So in Linköping, for instance, we have Saab, someone mentioned today, FOI, Linköping University, of course, but we also have Combitech and Sectra and Link 22 and other companies that hold good expertise within cybersecurity.
Yeah.
And as you were mentioning, and we've been talking about the competence lack
Yes.
on the market, we need to cooperate in order to use the knowledge to share with others.
Yes.
So you will be the point of contact. Magnus will be the point of contact for all cybersecurity initiatives.
Yes.
So is there anything else? Should we, like, there's a lot of things going on in the world, and we are very sad about that, but is there anything that companies in general, you were mentioning to think about the assets, but also when you go into the digital channels and you are faced with a lot of news, maybe to be more critical or aware of different situations? Is there anything you can think of?
There is of course a lot that is written nowadays on. I should say when I started in this area, 2018, I had kind of to motivate why the company should talk to me, because cybersecurity. Why do I need that? I do clothing or whatever, but that mindset has changed now. So I think it's really important just so that you feel that you have somewhere to turn.
Yeah, and also what you're mentioning is really important, because what we advise all startups and scale-ups and other companies is to integrate security into product development, into if you build new solutions, services, and of course the organization, which you mentioned earlier, not as an add-on when you have built your product, but as an integrated work.
Yeah, that is really important, because security that is really not an add-on that you can apply in the end. That is something that you need to have in your mindset when you develop your products.
Okay, so you have a very important job ahead of you, and let's give Magnus a big applause.
Thank you very much.
And we are moving forward, and you have met a lot of brilliant minds, brilliant people, brilliant companies, but we do not work and operate in the best way if there weren't for the meeting places that we have in our city and our region. And I'm very happy to welcome some of the ambassadors for our new meeting places here in Linköping. Linn Lichterman from Ebbe Park, St. Kors. We have Jannike from Internetstiftelsen and Go to 10, and then we have Daniel Andersson from Link Business Center and Lundbergs. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, welcome, and extra welcome to you, Jannike, and Internetstiftelsen, who have chosen to settle down in Linköping.
Yeah.
And you have your colleague Niklas with you. Niklas, there you are, waving. We were so happy that you decided to come here, and I know from operating Reactive at Mjärdevi for a number of years how important this meeting place has been to the community in Mjärdevi. For anyone who doesn't know about Internetstiftelsen, could you please tell us a little bit about you?
It's a bit difficult to make this story short, but I will try. The Swedish Internet Foundation is a private foundation. And the reason for us to be is taking care of the top domain level .se. So all the domains, everyone who pays for the domain every month, we get the money. And we also operate .nu. And since we are a foundation, the money we make from the domains, we reinvest in different projects to promote a positive impact of digitalization and internet in Sweden. So we've been doing this for over 20 years. So we do a bunch of different projects. And one of those are meeting places. We also have seminars, and many people know us through Bredbandskollen or our annual report, Svenskarna Internet. And I can agree, TikTok is very interesting now, and also the gaming industry is very growing. You can find all the information at the Swedish Internet homepage. But we would like to make it possible for people to start from the beginning. So we're not like a co-working place, we're more of a free start place, an open platform where people can meet.
That's wonderful. And it sounds like a great match between Linköping and Internetstiftelsen, because I hope you know that the first web server in Sweden were actually put here in Linköping. I'm looking at Lars, you need to connect with Jannike later. And it was also one of the 10 first globally, right? Something like that, yeah. So Lars was actually one of the pioneers in internet in Sweden. So
actually we have something called the Internet Museum where you can find the Swedish internet history and you can read about that.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Go to 10 will move into the old Preactive for anyone who's you heard about the old fire station, and the old Preactive will be Go to 10 in Mjärdevi. Tell us about what will happen and when will you be there?
First of all, we started 2017 in Stockholm, so we tried this concept there, and then we moved on to Malmö. It was the first time we were outside Stockholm, and it was very interesting for us to learn about the whole scale-up, startup, community world in Malmö. So now we're here to learn about the community in Linköping. They are building, they are fixing and making it a go-to-10 at this huge premises. It's like, I mean, how many square meters?
I think it's like 900.
900, yeah. So it will be 800, it will be 3 levels, and there will be an open space for work and spaces for meetings. And this is a place by the community for the community, so it's free, but will be nothing without the community. So you will fill it with meetings about cybersecurity, about gaming, about development, about how different sectors can meet up between like startups, big companies, but also the public sector and individual experts. So this has been very open and low threshold for collaboration. That's what we want to do.
And I know there are already some collaboration with the university and the researchers taking place, which is really exciting. I know you are also hiring for community managers, so make a shout out.
Yes. We need someone who can really be our guy or girl in Linköping, be the center of attention and the point to build this community, because this is all about the community, as I said. It will be nothing without the people there. So if you have anyone, a star who likes to travel between the public sector, the private sector, the tech startups, to connect the dots, please shout out, because we really need that person to start as soon as possible. We found a brilliant girl in Malmö, and she's like the heart of Go-to-10 in Malmö, and we need the heart here as well. So if you have any suggestions, give us a call, talk to us later outside.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Linn, you operate in Ebbe Park, which is the new innovation hotspot of Linköping. Tell us more.
Yeah, it's a new central city district in Linköping, and just as you say, an innovation hotspot. There's also an area that combines premises, offices, and also apartments and residents, and sort of everything that you can find in the city with restaurants and cafes, and there will be a park, and it's an ongoing project. But
100-year ongoing project for at least 100 years.
But already today, 70 companies are based in the park.
Wonderful. Yeah. And you have 3 value words.
Yes, they are dare, care, and share, and that basically guides us in everything that we do.
Yeah, and the new tenants in the park that have that mindset.
Yeah,
are the ones that you are looking for.
Yeah, actually, because we find that we try to be really clear and consistent in our communication in what we are trying to create and build in Ebbe Park. So we're not looking for any specific companies. It's just like you said, the companies that are attracted to this vision, they are the perfect match for Ebbe Park.
Wonderful. Okay. And you are cooperating with the city-held companies Stångåstaden, Lejon Fastigheter, Tekniska Verken, and of course St. Kors. And you are building, and we are a little part of it, a huge test bed.
Yes.
Tell us about the test bed.
Yeah, the test bed is it's an opportunity for organizations, businesses that have new ideas and solutions that they want to try. And they can come to Ebbe Park and try it in a full-scale, one-to-one setting in real life. So we use the area with its building and everything in it to test new things.
That's great. And I know we have Rise here, right? RISE. There you are.
Yeah.
You have moved into Every Park, and there we have, for instance, also a IoT lab, and which is part of the test bed.
Yeah. So yeah, RISE, you are in the test bed as well in the project.
Yeah. Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And Niklas.
Daniel.
Sorry.
Yes.
Jag ber så mycket om ursäkt. Daniel, we are here today at Link Business Center. How many of you are here for the first time? Quite a few. Wonderful. That's great news. This is a great new meeting place and business district that you call it in Linköping. Tell us more about what was the idea and the vision behind Link?
Well, the idea was we made a restart at 2017, and then our vision was, well, kind of actually this kind of meeting. I say, you are the vision. The vision was to create a meeting place for the business here in the region in Linköping, but also, of course, the tenants we have in the house. It should be easy for them to attract people, attract employees, and have a kind of a nice day here. It should be possible to have a good lunch, to have good meetings, to use our locker rooms, and just have a good start here.
Mm. And it's a great building. You can see it from anywhere in Linköping. It's like you see the Domkyrkan and then you see Link Business Center. And Lundbergs, you are doing more projects in Linköping. What goals do you have for the future of Linköping?
Yeah, the history is that we started in Norrköping in 1944, and we've been here in Linköping since the 50s. But lately, I say that since 2010, when we bought the fastighet known as the estate known as Gränden, and we also bought Gyllen, the house Gyllen, and from that we have invested a lot of money in other projects as kvarteret Bokbindaren, where Handelsbanken, Skandia and VSP are. And we have also invested in 374 flats for rental in Södra Vikskälla. And last but not least, this project Link. This building, 13,000 square meters, and also the black house here. We call it Stångebrostrand.
And this one is designed by Gert Wingård, right?
Yes,
so
it is.
It's really beautiful, and it's like
Thank
a
you.
piazza out here. It's like a...
Yeah, that was one of the main, as I told you, the vision to create a meeting spot, a meeting area, and the square, the piazza, or maybe just a toy is a main thing for us. And have a look at the pattern of the floor. It's a very sustained material that have been used for a really long time, but the way it's done there is something extra.
Wonderful. And I heard some rumors about a rooftop bar.
Yes, there will be a rooftop bar at level 6. And it's really nice to have the opportunity to open up the house for not only the ones that work in the house, as for everyone in Linköping.
When can we come there?
In May.
In May.
May.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will knock on the door.
Yeah. You're welcome.
So, thank you so much for joining us, and a big hand of applause. So a lot of companies have been talking about the lack of competence, the war on talents, and we are going to meet a few of the international talents that we have in Linköping. And we are actually running a Vinnova-funded program called Switch to Sweden, and where we are trying to match international talents to Swedish employers because we see that 60% of all the international talents that join Sweden say they want to continue working in Sweden, but only 20% move on to actually doing so. And we will meet a few talents today, and I'm very pleased to welcome to stage Vioneer, PhD at VAS, Linköping University. And we have Ella Galvez, who is the project manager for Switch to Sweden at Linköping University. And then we have Said Atikai, you can tell me if I pronounced it right, CEO of Dassup. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I will start with you, Viona. You share with us your journey from coming to Sweden, and you've been studying at Linköping University. Let us know more.
Yes, it's kind of an unusual story because I was looking to do a master's abroad, and I got a scholarship from the Swedish Institute Network for Future Global Leaders. So long. And I actually got attracted by the master's program, which is the Strategy and Management or Business Administration at LiU. And I had no idea where Linköping was or how big it was. I just wanted to do the right program.
And where do you come from, just so that we...
I'm from Albania. The next question is usually, oh, what are you doing in Sweden? You have such nice weather there. But there is a lot of reasons.
We have nice weather.
Yeah, March has been really nice. But there is, of course, really, really good reasons to be here in Sweden and in Linköping in particular. So I followed the master program. I did the master program for 2 years. And during the program, I kind of felt this, that I fell in love with research and the academic world. And I knew that I wanted to do a PhD. So one thing led to the other. And then I ended up doing this, the PhD that I'm in. It's a project founded by WASP-HS, the Wallenberg Institute for Autonomous Systems, but the program for humanities and society. So we look at AI in the societal aspects, and I look at AI in medical decision making.
Wow.
So this is where I am.
So amazing. We're so happy to have you. And you have also been part of the student board at Linköping University. Can you tell us anything about that experience?
Yeah, it's a really interesting experience, I would have to say. We are quite a diverse group of students, so we have very diverse experiences, diverse backgrounds, and so on. So it really reflects in the board meetings, which are led by the wonderful Anna Brothers, which is a great guide for us. And initially I joined because I thought I'm quite an active person, so I thought it would be nice to see what's going on in the science park, and also being in the field of AI, I got the opportunity to learn more from AI Sweden and so on. So the initial reason was very selfish, but being in the board and being able to tackle or confront it with very interesting challenges, like for example, the one that I'm mostly invested in is how to connect the university with the science park. And I, as a PhD and as a teacher, I have been trying to bridge that gap. Maybe some of you probably know me because I had a kind of an experiment where I connected some of the students from one of our leadership courses to study an actual leader. Instead of just reading the book of Steve Jobs, which is, it's a really nice book and you can learn a lot from it. But I think it's so important to go out there and being in an environment such as Linköping, where it's blossoming with good leaders and nice businesses.
And we do a lot of great activities, but in May 10th, we will have the Science Pop-Up Expo, where the PhD students get to showcase their research projects to the business community. So note May 10th in your calendars, and if you have any areas which you are interested in, you can also tell us and we will scout for good researchers. So thank you so much, Fiona. And Ella, you also have a very interesting journey within Sweden and Linköping. Please enlighten us.
Yes, well, I think I can start with a follow-up because my story is very similar to Fiona's story. We actually studied the same master program at Linköpings University, and we met working in Linköping because my first job in Sweden was in Mjärdevi. But of course, when I get to know further what Mjärdevi is and all the innovative ecosystem, I was very driven to continue my studies. So therefore we enrolled in the same master, and we ended up in the same company. And then I think like I kind of continued trying to understand better the local scene, and that took me to the student board of the Science Park, where I met another brother. We had the opportunity to influence in the ecosystem, and in my case that was a result of the reverse mentorship program. That's when I met you, because we had a lunch and I shared like this idea about how to connect better like the students with the companies, and that is actually happening right now. And also then we talked about that I was going to continue with a master thesis. And you posed a question about like, well, how can we continue connecting the students with companies? Because at that time, I didn't know the current need for talent. That was like a new thing for me. And therefore, I did my master thesis with Bram, which is my master thesis partner. And I dived deep into this topic, and I met some of you guys because you helped me in my research. So I did some interviews. And also I interview international students to understand what is their situation, what are their needs, and how we can connect these two worlds better. That led to a new project. So it's been like one thing after the other. So I feel like we're making a way that also helps to reduce the gap that you talked before. And right now that project is called Switch to Sweden, which aims to understand the company's needs from a local and national perspective, and also to understand the international talent, and therefore create a space so they can meet. Right now we have like an AI tool system where there is a match based on skills and interests from talents and companies, and this is the first step just to meet someone new. We want to create like a more friendly environment where we can connect these two different worlds, and therefore help out to reduce the gap of talent in Sweden, and therefore collaborate with the performance of the companies. And that's my job today. So you're more than welcome to check out the project. We have 2 matchmaking activities running at the moment. One is specialized for the Marie Curie Fellows, which are like a very specific group of PhD students in Sweden. They're the best talent right now in the country. So if you want to meet one of them, you can register and we can match you. And also we launched yesterday the Ukrainian matchmaking to help people that is currently fleeing from Ukraine. So you're more than welcome to try it out as well. And perhaps you can meet like the right talent coming from Ukraine to Sweden.
How many companies has joined the registration?
5 until yesterday, but I need to double check today. And I'm gonna double check after today in the update.
So you still have a few moments.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I'm very happy also that we have Vinnova with us, and Anna-Karin Ramsten, who is part of this project, Switch to Sweden. Sahid.
Yep.
Did I pronounce it right?
Yeah,
Sahid.
in Sweden I'm called Sayed, but internationally maybe Sajid.
Sajid, I can work on that. Great to have you here. And you are the CEO of Dasuk, which is a startup based at Lead Business Incubator.
Yes.
Can you just tell us a bit about your startup?
Yes, so Dasuk, like you said, is now in Lead Business Incubator, and we help industrial companies, especially smaller companies, to simplify their energy management. And our solution can save up to 20% electricity bill for these companies.
Wonderful. And you heard about the index program before,
yeah.
So you are going to apply for that, right? Good. And how did you end up in Sweden? Where do you come from?
Yeah, so I originally come from India, southernmost part of India called Kerala, somewhat close to Sri Lanka, if some people might know that. So my background is like, I have my bachelor's in mechanical engineering, and I was working in an oil and gas corporate company back in India for 6 years, wherein I was daily dealing with fossil fuels. all sort of petrol, gas, everything. So then I realized that this is not something which I wanted to do, continue doing, and I wanted to get out of that world. And I started thinking like, what should I do in the future? And I knew that it was something related to sustainability. Then I turned to Google Gods to ask like, what is the best place to be for sustainability related stuff? And Google God said Sweden. So I chose Masters in Sustainability Engineering and Management at Linköping University, and that's how I reached here.
Wow, that's amazing. And did you always know you wanted to become an entrepreneur?
Quite frankly, no. So how it happened was like that, like, yeah, I knew from around 2014 or 15 that like I needed to be in the sustainability field because that was one of my passion, and I chose this course. During this course, actually, like how the whole idea of Dazo came up was like I got opportunity to visit many industries in Sweden as part of my coursework. And in 2019, along with my co-founder in Dazo, his name is Dominic, we were at an industrial plant in Shisa, BTT Plot AB, and we were doing our master thesis in that plant. And during that like master course, the site manager there, his name is Ricard, he asked us a question which started everything actually. The question was more like he needed help with his energy management. It is a small and medium industry, and he had 1, 2, 3 many requirements, and he needed some help with that. So we went back, both me and Dominic, we went back, searched in the whole ecosystem whether such a company is existing or such a solution is existing. We couldn't unfortunately find any solution which met his requirements. So then we started thinking like why we ourselves can't make it. So yeah, that was the thought, and with this idea we went to LIU Innovation, which is the business office at Linköping University in 2019, and from there to Lead Business Incubator where we are today. That's how it all happened.
That's wonderful, and we have Susanne from LIU Innovation here also. Wonderful, and I'm just curious as to how did you experience connecting to Sweden, becoming part of a community? Do you have any advice to share with new international talents that come here?
Yeah, of course, what I have felt from my experience is that like language is always a challenge, especially to get into the ecosystem. And in such scenarios, like of course in my case, Lead, LIU Innovation, such ecosystems help because like it can work for anyone. But at the same time, like if, for example, like when I see it back from India, in India, for example, there are institutes, for example, which help with learning foreign languages, but especially for German, such languages. So I know that like Linköping University is doing many things for like attracting good international talents, but like at least in India, like for such language helping things are lacking for Swedish. So such things could boost the.
So applying Swinglish is a good thing,
Yeah.
because then we don't have to feel the language barrier. Okay, so thank you very, very much for joining us today, and a big hand of applause. We are moving on to a new movie, and I'm gonna just go over here. Since 7 years back, we've been running an initiative called Code Summer Camp, where we teach young kids and youngsters to program and code, and you will see some of the insights for 2022.
Så där ser det ut nu på Code Summer Camp när det inte är pandemi. Jag heter Nora, jag har varit med på Code Summer Camp 2 gånger när det har varit pandemi. Så jag har suttit här hemma med datorn här och programmerat. Jag har programmerat med Scratch. Och då är det är väldigt simpelt. Det är liksom färdigt programmerade block som man sätter ihop. Så man kan göra små spel. Sånt. Sen har vi programmerat med CodePen. Och sen har vi också programmerat med Emerging Labs. Och då kan man göra små pixeltavlor som man kan ha till en liten... någon sån här skärm. Det som var roligast med Code Summer Camp är att man får lära sig att programmera mycket bättre. För när jag började, jag hade ingen aning om vad man gjorde. Jag hade programmerat någon gång i skolan. Ja, men det var väl det jag hade tänkt att säga. Nu ska ni få träffa Amanda som ska vara coach på årets Code Summer Camp. Hoppas ni har det kul. Lycka till!
Hallå där! Jag heter Amanda och jag pluggar civilingenjörsprogrammet i teknisk fysik på Lunds tekniska högskola. Och i år så har jag faktiskt fått äran att vara coach på Code Summer Camp. Jag har ändå under ett rätt bra tag haft koll på vad Code Summer Camp är för någonting. Och jag fick faktiskt vara med själv på ett litet hörn för några år sedan när jag var på lägret med min egenstartade förening Girls in STEM. Och vi fick hålla i en liten workshop som handlade om hur en besättning med massa olika yrkesgrupper skulle kunna klara sig på Mars i 12 månader. Jag hade aldrig provat på att programmera innan jag läste min första kurs i Java på universitetet. Liksom. På ett sätt kan jag tycka att det var kul att jag liksom ändå lyckades bli introducerad till vad teknik var för någonting. På ett annat sätt kan jag tycka att om jag hade blivit det tidigare så hade jag ju säkert inte liksom tvekat lika mycket på mitt val som jag gjorde när jag liksom skulle välja vad jag ville plugga och vad jag ville göra sen. För att nu har jag ju insett att teknik är typ det coolaste som finns och det är ju det här jag liksom vill hålla på med. Det är lite därför jag tycker att liksom satsningar som Code Summer Camp är så viktiga. För att hade det här funnits när jag liksom gick i mellanstadiet och någon sa till mig så här: vill du gå på det här ascoola, roliga lägret och träffa massa kompisar och få prova på vad teknik är för någonting? Då hade jag inte tvekat en sekund. Jag hade absolut gått på lägret. Något av det jag tycker är allra viktigast med satsningar som Code Summer Camp och tillfällen där man liksom får introducera teknik och programmering för ungdomar, barn och människor i allmänhet är att visa att liksom det här är någonting för alla. Det finns inte en specifik grupp av människor som ska hålla på med teknik eller programmering och det finns inte en grupp av människor som det passar bäst för. Och det här är någonting som jag har upplevt väldigt starkt liksom, under hela min uppväxt och under hela min första gången jag blivit introducerad till teknik är att jag har känt att jag inte passar in i standarden eller stereotypen för den personen som man tänker ska hålla på med teknik. Och för mig har det därför varit så viktigt att så här, bli välkomnad men framför allt se förebilder som jag kan relatera till som håller på med teknik och programmering. Och det tycker jag Code Summer Camp gör så himla bra. Dels att de välkomnar och öppnar upp för alla och också försöker nå ut till alla. Kanske de grupperna som inte naturligt blir introducerade till programmering och teknik. Men också att försöka vara liksom inkluderade i hur man visar upp förebilder som coacher eller folk som kommer till lägret. För att alla ska känna att så här, det här är en plats för mig och jag kan se mig själv i någon annan som håller på med det här också. Sammanfattningsvis är jag sjukt taggad på Code Summer Camp i sommar och att få vara coach till barnen och ungdomarna i 3 veckor. Och framförallt att bli inspirerad av och lära mig, tror jag, så sjukt mycket av barnen och ungdomarna. Och kanske förhoppningsvis kunna bidra med någonting själv av mina kunskaper och erfarenheter. Kanske vara någons förebild, men förmodligen också hitta ascoola förebilder i barnen och ungdomarna. Så ja, jag är sjukt taggad och snart drar vi igång.
Yes, Nora Larsson och Amanda Axelsson. A big hand of applause. And the application period for Code Summer Camp 2022 is opening up next week, a couple of weeks, yeah. And there are 300 people that can apply. And there are still a few positions. If any one of you would like to be part of the crowdfunding for the programming camp, Helena, yes? Yes? Okay. You are more than welcome to join in. And this is a crowd-funded camp that we have done for 7 years. And it's the business community and the public sector that actually pays for all of this. Amazing, right? So he's joined me on stage here. So this is Simon Helmer. He's the CEO of the East Sweden Chamber of Commerce. And I invited you to make a summarize of this morning session together with me and talk a little bit about what's happening in the world and what's happening in Linköping. How are you doing today?
I'm quite fine. It's an honor to be here and a bit nervous, but usually people have difficulties understanding my accent from Blekinge.
Yeah,
now
okay.
It's like Sajid. It's a Swinglish.
We apply Swinglish, and we can have some Blekinge dialect in it as well. It's quite okay. So, you are part of the East Sweden Chamber of Commerce, and you actually have your office here at Link Business Center.
Yes, very close. And it's a fantastic meeting spot for Linköping.
Definitely.
And I would like to add that Daniel had a very good presentation about this fantastic project, and I really think that if you want to grow as a region and you would like to be attractive, you need fantastic architecture. Mm. And I think it's very interesting, and I think I'm very proud that Lundberg had been doing this fantastic, or doing those two fantastic buildings. He's the most awarded architect in Sweden. 5 times he has won the Casper Sahlén prize. And I think it's very interesting when he talks about the buildings, he always talks about them as yin and yang, and that they belong together. Many people in Linköping, they see this fantastic white building, and when he talks about the buildings, he talks about the black one with the horizontal black matte facade materials, and these white ones with those white ceramic vertical facade materials, and this connection. And for him, it's two very nice buildings that belong together, and I think it's fantastic. And
so Simon has a background in the property business, and working at Stockholmsstaden, and you also been actually the manager of the Valla Expo that we had in Linköping a few years ago. So anyone that want to talk about architecture, and I do agree with you, it's really important when you are an expanding region.
And we actually shared the same job.
Yeah, we did.
In a long time ago.
Back in the days.
Almost in the galaxy.
You were the CEO of Skill, and then I came after you. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
A long time ago.
And then we were at the student union as well.
Yes, exactly.
I was there before you. I'm a little bit older. Anyway, we are part of an expanding region.
Yes, very, very expanding region.
Tell us a little bit about what's happening in East Sweden.
I think the interesting thing, I work, the East Sweden Chamber of Commerce is one of 11 chambers in Sweden, and we are privately founded and financed, and our region is Sörmland and Östergötland and Gotland. And I think it's very interesting to see the business in the region and to see Sweden or East Sweden. I think that the thing that I think is very interesting is to have very broad perspective. Mm-hmm. That is I think it's so interesting today. I think I had a few words. I mean, you have cooperation, and it's so interesting to hear all about those companies with the importance of an American owner, and you have customers all over the world. I think it's a fantastic region, and we have so many possibilities. But it's also very interesting one of my reflections from today is that I guess I've been thinking about it during those hours that I've been sitting in the back, and perhaps it's because the majority, I guess, the companies here today is software. A large number of the employees that I work with are hardware. It's Saab, Siemens, Väderstad, companies in all the SSAB, and when I meet them nowadays and talk with them, the issues are costs for energy, the shortage of supply, incredible increases in cost for logistics and so on. And you talk a lot about the war. And today I think it's fantastic to have somebody talk about all the possibilities and all the connections and all the cooperation. And I think that's fantastic.
That is a very good reflection.
I think that is very interesting. And for some example, in the logistics, I met a company a couple of weeks ago, one of the larger companies in this region, and usually when they send a 40 feet container from China, he pays approximately $3,000. And this was before the war in Ukraine, and then he could buy it for $18,000. And he made a long-term agreement on $9,000, and it was before Ukraine. And I think those things are very interesting, and I think will have a great effect in our region.
It's very
of
volatile.
course, in the months and years to come.
Yeah, and if we just say for a moment at the geopolitical situation that we have globally, because I know that the East Sweden Chamber did a survey between your members to just see how are they being affected by the war taking place. Could you see anything that is
the thing that we could see is that the support for the sanctions are like 120% strong. That all companies nowadays, they support the sanctions and they are very keen on doing the right stuff and very nervous breaking the sanctions and not nervous about cost. They are nervous about they really want to succeed in making the sanctions very strong. But there is almost 25% of the companies that answered in this survey said that they were affected short and long term. And of course it's lots about the high costs for logistics and material and so on. But also we have a number of companies in our region that have their own businesses in both Russia and Ukraine. So we have some in our chamber. One third of our business is that we help approximately 300 companies in our region with crucial documents for international trade, and you don't hear so much about it today, of course, but we have lots of shipping industry in our region because we have Gotland and we have great harbors in both Norrköping and Oxelösund, and 15% of all the sailors in the world are from Ukraine or Russia.
How many percent?
15%.
15%. Wow.
And I had one of our member companies. It's very common, of course, that you have on the ships that you have sailors from both Russia and Ukraine.
Wow.
And great challenges.
Yeah, and maybe we don't see all the consequences that will be just yet either. And I'm thinking also about the agriculture sector, which is very big in both Ukraine and Russia. And I know that in Russia they do a lot of the, what do you say, artificial konstgödsel. 50% of the market comes from Russia. And that will probably affect the whole globe, of course. So maybe there are a potential for new industries within the ag-tech sector, which is one of our sectors in Sweden.
But then I had some reflections. I made some notes. And I have some. I had to type it down so I could remember it. But I think some of the things that I take with me from today, I think it was Leif from Maxar, and he talked about this importance of an American owner. I think that was very interesting.
That's interesting because we also have more American investments being done in the region. We have Qualcom that is acquiring Arriver and Veoneer. And we also had the acquisition of Xenion by Verizon. So there are a lot of American companies coming to.
And actually, I read just now that Svanberg, the old CEO from Ericsson, he's a student from Linköping.
Yeah.
His son became the new CEO for Veoneer. They just published it. or he was, I think he was appointed, just read it now. But also I think that this enthusiasm from Patrik Holm, that he shows that, I mean, he's building so many companies, and now he's recruited from Ericsson, and this thing that he already talks about, this new club, I think he will have like a queue, and I think it's very interesting. And this Sam from Syria, and this connection, and he also talks about this always, as many of you have done today, about this cooperation between LEAD and it's Vinnova, and it's the private and the public. It's interesting. This other Sam, I think it was about this TikTok thing, and I have a.
Should we go out on TikTok together?
Actually, I have a 12-year-old daughter at home, and
so you really
so I'm
I'm
into TikTok just because to check it up what she's doing there, and maybe she's not aware of that yet, but I think it's important. And I think Oscar from SoftTube is fantastic to have. He's been working with this for 19 years and still are so eager, and they have this. I hope to have an invitation for the party. Of course.
Yeah, me too. Anyone?
And I think that it's very interesting with those. Everybody talking so much about cooperation.
But aren't we the perfect size of a region to have this tight collaboration between?
I think it's quite unique. Actually, I participated yesterday in an interesting discussion in Norrköping. The leader of the
we can take
the board,
Swedish.
Kommunens ordförande is the leader of the board.
Yeah.
And they took an initiative yesterday to have a discussion about why did they lose Northvolt to Gothenburg, and they invited a great number of people, both Finspång and Norrköping, and there was this discussion. And I think that is also very interesting. I think it's a very interesting initiative of a municipality to evaluate what did we do good and what did we do not that good, and why did we lose, and how can we win next time. But also I think it's very interesting to, when you have this perspective about Linköping, you have the region. I think one of the participants yesterday said that at least Sweden won, and I think that's also a good perspective, that they didn't build the Northvolt in Ghent in Belgium, where Volvo has the rather big plant. So Sweden won, but perhaps Norrköping lost this time. And I think it was a very great initiative.
Yeah. And we actually had a day yesterday with the Linköping and Norrköping municipalities and the science parks from Linköping and Norrköping in Ebbe Park, talking about our collaboration. And we also talked about Northvolt and other stuff. And I can conclude that we are working very, very well together and doing so many great initiatives together. So we are really becoming this one region that we've been talking about for so many years.
But then I also think it's important to look. I mean, you talk about Linköping, Norrköping, you have the region. But from my perspective, when I work in several regions, I think it's important to connect to the other regions. For example, I mean, you have SKF, one of the largest Swedish companies. They are located in Katrineholm, and just because they are on the other side of the county border, you don't really reflect that you have SKF in our region. And I talk with Martin Ranse at the university. I think it's important to. I mean, for example, one of our big companies on Gotland is the Rederi of Gotland. A very unique company, a very strong owner, and they collect money. They're extremely strong. And they have a very interesting project with Siemens Energy about the new turbines, with the new ship that they want to make and to make sustainable. And it's very interesting to have the connections out of. We shouldn't think about the boundaries between municipalities or regions or whatever.
It's good you mentioning the Swedish perspective. Yeah. And some also mentioned the cooperation with Borås Science Park, and also the Swedish Scaleup program runs from Uppsala, Västerås, Örebro, Norrköping, Linköping. So there are a lot of collaboration, but there are also what we call inlåsningseffekter in the system, and we are trying to get rid of them. And I know Anna-Karin is very pioneering this topic from Vinnova perspectives. So that is really good, and more cooperation. I think every one of us are eager to have more cooperation. Yeah.
Particularly, particularly I think those days when you have the war in Ukraine, I think that all of those like free economies and open economies and the cooperation, we have to show that is the way.
That is the way. Yeah. So if you use the spåkula, what can you see in the future?
I think this region is extremely strong, and I think with this university and all those companies, it's fantastic. And I also think it's one great thing that we have, hopefully, in the few months to come, this big investment where the state will invest 80 billion euro. No, 80 miljarder in this new high-speed train. Yeah. And I think it will have a great importance for connecting Stockholm to this region.
What about the road?
But it's also very interesting the thing that is happening. I mean, just in a few years, you will have the Fehmarn Belt bridge completed. I mean, in Malmö. Malmö, in a few years, Malmö, they will have the same distance. They will have a shorter time from Malmö to Hamburg than Malmö to Stockholm. So I think it's very important in Sweden. Sometimes you talk about Ostlänken, if you should build it or not. Should build it. I think that in Europe they are building it, and I think that actually this part of Sweden will lose if we don't build it.
Okay.
Because I think the southern parts of Sweden will otherwise have their connections to the continent, because it will be short time.
And do you think there's a parallel future for the drone traffic?
Of course.
Yeah.
I think
so we will go on multi-levels.
No, but the drones, I mean, we have so many interesting companies. I visited Drugge in Åtvidaberg a few weeks ago, both with their ocean modules and also with the heavy ones that will soon be able to lift for the windmills. Impressive companies.
There are being done a lot of heavy investments in the north part of Sweden, where we have the new industrialization, Northvolt, what was steel, hybrid and so on. What will be, do you think, the Northvolt of Östergötland or East Sweden?
I think that that Linköping and this region have shown that we are very good in developing companies that are already located here, like Ericsson. I mean, Ericsson is a fantastic company. I mean, and all good things that they are doing. I mean, Saab, Siemens Energy. We have so many strong industries in our region, so I think they will.
And fostering the new generation of startups and scale-ups.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can see many good examples of new scale-up today here in Linköping. So I think we will.
Yeah. Is there anything we need to work on to become even better that you have been thinking of?
I've been working as the CEO for our chamber since May last year. And the thing that I see so far is those boundaries that you should more talk about the region and perhaps not Linköping, Norrköping or Katrineholm or whatever. More about the region and perhaps not define the region, because I think that the region will differ. I think out of a perspective, if you are coming from abroad, it's East Sweden or south of Sweden or maybe Scandinavia. And I think we should talk less about the cities and more about the region.
Vioneer is approving, yes.
I think the region is strong.
The region is strong.
And I think and when you say Norrköping and Linköping, people start to think about competition. I think the region, you can have no bad feelings about just saying the region. And then you let someone else define the region.
Can we call ourselves East Swedeners?
I think also it's the perspective. I mean, as when you see the statistics from the region, from the county, and when they have made a survey, people in Uppsala think they belong to the East Sweden region.
Yeah, they can be part of it. It's okay.
But the island don't consider themselves to be part of the East region.
Islanders?
I think the region is strong, and I think our companies are so strong.
And what characterizes the East Swedeners?
The East Sweden, I think we are. That's a good question. but I think in some case I think we are maybe a bit maybe we are like a typical Swede with some bad self-confidence. I think it's very interesting when I talk in our region when we talk about the East Coast in Sweden. Maybe the people living on the East Coast have tried to be a bit quiet about it because they want to keep it for themselves. But it's very interesting with the West Coast. I mean, if anyone would say the West Coast, you know where it is. But we have the East Coast. It's fantastic, and no one really know that it exists. When I moved from Blekinge to this, I had a colleague at Skill, Jonas Henriksson. He loved boats, and he took me out on a boat, and I like suddenly realized, okay, there is archipelago even here.
Yeah.
And the archipelago of Blekinge is so famous, but the archipelago of Blekinge is nothing compared to this archipelago. I think we have an interesting region.
Yeah, but we could brag a bit more.
But I think that we have. I think that when we talk about this talent attraction today, of course, the focus is attracting engineers and so on. But the interesting thing is that when I, for example, have a meeting at Kolmården, one of the largest zoo in Sweden, and an extremely strong brand in both nationally and internationally, and they have 700,000 visitors, and they were aiming for 1 million. And when I meet Christine there, she talks about her difficulties finding people for the restaurant, for cleaning, for the zoo. I mean, when you meet an industry, they have problems with finding a welder. I mean, all businesses in Sweden have problems with people. I mean, Mjärdevi have their challenges, but everybody, it's interesting. I think to attract, one thing that I think is crucial for our region, and I've heard it many times, particularly for very talented people, is that we need to have more detached homes. We need, I mean, if there is a shortage of detached homes in Linköping, then you can move to Stockholm and stand in a queue there. I mean, I think that's something that we could really attract people with, is to have great possibilities to live and to combine the working environment with private life. And I think that, I mean, also with this East Coast, and because I mean we have Vättern, we have the fields, and we have the East Coast. I mean, we have so many nice areas, and still there is such a great shortages of. As Lena said before, I've been working a lot with real estate, and I was responsible for Vallastaden. For the last couple of years, I worked with that, and it's quite interesting when you had visitors from abroad. National visitors, they were very impressed that we were able to build 1,000 homes for 6 years. They were so impressed. They said, I mean, it's impossible in Sweden to have a project with 1,000 homes from idea to reality in 6 years. When I had people from abroad, and I told them that we have done something fantastic. We have built 1,000 homes in 6 years. And if they were from Asia, they didn't get it.
3 months.
And the most fun thing is, I always see in this picture, I mean, having this person from Asia flying into Linköping, and then they meet me, and Simon or Lena, and we tell them that, you know, we have a great shortages of detached homes. And they say, how come? We have lack of ground. And they've been sitting in this airplane. I'm wondering, one of my big issues is actually, I'm wondering what the problem is.
That is a really good question. How difficult can it be?
Because it cannot be a lack of land.
No. Do you have any final remarks from your notes that you would like to share? It's black now. Okay, I see. Anything else you would like to share?
No, just an honor and fantastic day and a fantastic event, and I'm honored to.
We were so happy that all of you came here and connected, and please keep on connecting outside of those doors. And this have been a live sent event. We have streamed it. You know, we are also the streaming media region, and so for any one of you that would like to catch up in afterwards, you can do that as well. So thank you so much for coming. And an extra thank you you to Frida and Frederick and Hasse who are part of this event. Thank you. Skål då.